Lane's comment isn't directed at the substance of my critique, but at my perceived identity. A punk who sits behind a computer talking shit.
And so it's easy to say I don't like ad hominem attacks when it's on yourself, but when you do it to other people, is it then okay? Does Lane Norton have something to hide? Are they all scared that Solomon is somehow going to make a video on them, and so they want to shut him up, to hush him? We would have expected Jeff Nippard, but Lane too? Coach Greg, in today's video, Solomon's response to not only Mike Israetel, but Lane Norton as well. Turns out the circle jerk is bigger than we all thought. Better call Solomon. Sir, a third plane has hit the Pentagon. And so Solomon is going to show exactly what's been deleted, the aftermath of Mr. Mike. Let's get right into it.
The fallout has been significant, and in many ways, the response from certain established figures in the fitness industry has been more revealing than the initial issue.
What he's stating is that how people respond, the way they acted, that is actually a bigger deal than Mike's original essay, the PhD thesis of which we now see it makes no sense. Over 200 mistakes, the fact that Israetel had misquoted, misrepresented data, that he tried to cover it up, that essentially it was a lie. If Mr. Mike had just responded saying, oopsie, I didn't do it as good as I should have, the world would have moved on, but the cover-up was worse than the lie.
To understand the subsequent fallout, we must first revisit the key events.
What is the most important fallout? Well, it's that science-based lifting is dead. If you claim to be an SBL, well, you're the laughing stock right now. And so what Mr. Mike has done is so much greater than just simply write a poor PhD thesis. He's ruined SBL for everyone.
A significant portion of Mike's defense focused not on the facts of the thesis, but on me personally.
And so this happens all the time. It happens when people attack Solomon. It happens when people attack me. They don't attack what you're saying. They attack the messenger. AKA, they do an ad hominem attack. Rather than challenging what you're saying, they say things like, oh, but you're a manlet, you're 50, you're a steroid user, you're not natural. What does what I do have to do with you? If I say someone's a fake natty and they say, yeah, but you're on HRT, how does it matter? How does it affect it?
Mike is also now arguing that his credentials never really meant much in the first place.
Credentials are kind of bullshit to begin with.
Yeah. I think the term credibility is actually to begin with.
The way he argues it, that credentials don't actually matter. But yet for multiple years, while he got his fame, that was one of the most important things that he talked about. I have a PhD. I'm smarter than you. Mike attempted to use an appeal to authority, the fact that he had and possessed a PhD, that he was smarter than everyone, his IQ over 160, that includes Mike Menser.
I'm bigger and stronger than Mike Menser. That's it. Yeah. So all of a sudden, that changes the game. Yeah. I'm more educated than Mike Menser. I know more things than Mike Menser.
And that if you actually thought you knew more than him, or you could add to his thoughts, he could be an authority in whatever you know best in a single year.
And whatever it is you think you're good at in your life, I'd probably take about a year and become an authority in the field in which you think you're good.
On his way up to close to 4 million followers, Mike thought, hey, you have to listen to me. I have a PhD. But when questioned on that PhD, he now says, PhDs don't matter. Well, isn't that convenient?
This position is made even more absurd by his own admission that on the Renaissance Periodisation channel, he makes similar videos on celebrities.
And so on the Renaissance Periodisation channel, Mike, he does whatever he wants. He can critique other famous athletes. He can talk about anything. Whatever gets the views, but when other people do it, no, that's wrong. If East Tennessee University wants to retain any credibility after this scandal, it needs to retract Israetel's third-rate dissertation and revoke his doctorate. That ain't going to happen. Do you really think that they're going to revoke his PhD? that would be admitting that they never read it over, that they never actually accredit him. They can't do that, and so they will never do this.
Mike claims that although his contentions may seem unremarkable today, they weren't so obvious in 2013.
Isn't it interesting to look at Mike Israetel before he got on steroids? Let's just look at Mike before steroids, when he had a full head of hair. Is this a fake it till you make it? Did Mike Israetel take steroids in order to get the physique so that he could then be an authority? I have a PhD. Look at my body. It's bigger and stronger than Mike Mentzer. I'm smarter than you, and so you have to listen to me. The only thing is, his physique is from steroids, 100%. What do you think Mike would look like without the steroids and without the surgeries?
When the shame of having the thesis exposed drove Mike to a desperate attempt at forgery, he was so unnerved that he falsified a document to hide the damage.
What does that tell you about science-based lifters, the SBLs of the world? Do you now trust it? Remember what I've been saying, that you can pay off certain people to do the research? Remember what I had to pay $200,000 in secret in order to get a study funded in secret so that no one would know that I was funding it, so that the results were perhaps what I wanted to tell people. But instead, what did they do to Coach Greg? 1 pill a day, you don't have to exercise, about 25 participants in total, and they used an in-body scam, the same in-body scam where I had 19.8% body fat, to try to say that my products don't work. And so if you don't pay to play, what do you think is going to become of you? But if you are willing to play, to get involved in the circle jerk, if you have your sweet and blow ready, well, you're welcome into our circle. Come join us. Lyle didn't want to join the circle, and what did they do? They outcasted him. Solomon, by proxy, by being friends with Solomon, you're also not welcome. As soon as Solomon accused Mike Israetel of doing anything wrong, they came to his defenses. Oh, Mike is a good guy. Solomon, he did this in bad faith. And this even included Lane Norton, of all people. I mean, we would have expected Jeff Nippard, but Lane too.
Dr. Lane Norton, PhD, offered his perspective. The comment, captured via screenshot by my friend Matt Randall before it was apparently deleted, reads as follows.
Does Lane Norton have something to hide? Are they all scared that Solomon is somehow going to make a video on them, and so they want to shut him up, to hush him, to put him down? I mean, I've read a number of comments saying, I can't wait for Solomon to expose Coach Greg. Expose me for what? I've already talked about everything. Expose me for what exactly? Do I look scared? I would love for Solomon to do a video about Coach Greg. Y'all think that I'm scared? What is he going to do? Research Turk Builder Max and Turk Platinum and say, yeah, just like he's saying, it's legit. That the other companies, that they're actually lying. Do you not think I already have chain of custody proving this to be true? And so if anything, I would hire Solomon Nelson as my lawyer to go against these other companies. When you think that I'm lying, guys, there's literally a money-back guarantee and a $20 gift card. If you don't believe me by now, this video is not going to do anything. And feel free to try and convince Solomon to say otherwise. I welcome the research.
Lane's comment stands as a testament to an initial reflex, an impulse to close ranks against an outside critic before all the facts of the Israetel situation had come to light.
Lane wrote this comment before asking Solomon anything. Hey, Solomon, I just wanted to check in. It's Lane Norton. I wanted to make sure that you did not actually have the first draft, that it was actually the final draft. You know, I'm trying to do my due diligence. Isn't that what Jeff Nippard had said? You know, the science-based lifter, the SBL. Drop autentista, comment deleta. Is that not what he said? And what happened to his comment also deleted. And so they were so quick to come to Mike's defense. But where are their apologies?
Lane's comment isn't directed at the substance of my critique, but at my perceived identity. A punk who sits behind a computer talking shit.
And so it's easy to say, I don't like ad hominem attacks when it's on yourself. But when you do it to other people, is it then okay? I mean, if it's not okay to do it to you, how is it okay to do it to Solomon?
Lane alleges that I have no concept of research. But how does he know this? He's just said that he doesn't know who I am. Fine, he doesn't have to.
I don't know who this guy is. Proceeds to say he doesn't know how to research. Bro is studying to be a lawyer. Does it look like he doesn't know how to research? If anything, he researches exceptionally well.
The core charge is that because I haven't tried to publish original research, I have zero concept of it. This is a category error.
One doesn't need to be a movie director to tell you that they didn't like the movie. I watched the movie and it sucked. I read the PhD thesis and it sucked. I saw 200 clerical errors. This wasn't quoted properly. This wasn't the first draft. He's a liar. How do you need to be an SBL researcher in order to do that?
I might engage in some amateur psychoanalysis, attempting to chalk up Lane's current online behavior with his well-documented experiences with past bullying.
I went through some pretty intense bullying as a kid.
Is there a pattern amongst these men? They've been bullied when they were younger. Mike Israetel most certainly describes some really bad situations when he was younger, struggles that he had. Lane Norton saying he was bullied. And so are these like really smart young men who then grow up to be very famous and perhaps have a chip on their shoulder from being bullied as they were children?
Criticism isn't an attack on your right to exist. It's an evaluative engagement with your ideas.
Exactly. When you criticize something that someone said or what they wrote or a video that they made, an idea that you're saying, you're not attacking that person. You're attacking or criticizing what that person said. If somebody says something like, for example, you don't need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, I'm going to say that makes no sense. This is moronic. It doesn't mean that that's a bad person, that that person doesn't have the right to say it. But I'm critiquing the information.
The old top-down model, where experts talk and everyone else listens, is broken. The audience now has a voice.
The way we once saw the science-based lifting community, it's now been broken. The top-down model, perhaps it was Lane Norton, Jeff Nippard, Mike Israetel, and they would say things, others would listen, and they would spread down the information. The trickle-down effect. When a science-based lifter reads an article and it's from some study that was 8 weeks long on a bunch of soccer moms and says, this is now how you have to train because the study says so, we can now say, yeah, thanks, but no. We now see Jeff Nippard even selling programs that are based on perhaps what Mike Mentzer was saying 50 years ago. Harder than last time. That it's not about all the volume, that you need to train hard. That is a direct counter to Mike Israetel's reps in reserve and minimum recoverable volume. What happened to that? We go to the gym and we train hard. We don't stop. Oh, it's starting to burn. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. That essentially has been what the science-based community has been saying. That you need to do a bunch of fancy exercise and don't go too hard and do so many sets, set after set after set, which should actually jog volume because some study said so. But the study isn't accurate. It doesn't involve bodybuilders or powerlifters. It doesn't involve people with 10 plus years of training. And how do they accurately determine intensity? Oh, I want you to go hard. You volunteered, go to failure on every single set for 18 weeks. They don't do that. They don't have the testicular fortitude to push themselves like that each and every day. And so even when you watch what Jeff Nippard did this year, he made some gains. He was in a deficit. I trained to failure on every set. How hard was that set to failure? Could he have done 5 more reps, partial reps? Did he truly push himself? Was he speaking in tongues? Was he going to level 4 like Mike Israetel doing leg curls? Even amongst training to failure, there's different levels to this shit. You can go to failure or you can go to failure and beyond. All right, you're doing your set. I'm close, right?
Yes.
We'll see. So that's failure, right? I couldn't get it down, right?
Yeah. That's
All right, what about if I really train hard? Ready?
You had all that left?
Is that failure? That's 4 extra reps, right?
Oh my God. Jeez.
Was that failure?
Yes.
Let's see. And so, when I hit failure, my warm-up was done. But y'all think you're training hard. Train harder than freaking last time, and then you'll make some gains. How hard you push yourself is going to determine how many sets do you need. And how do you like to train? If you can't train that hard, you don't like it, you hate it, well, just go and do more volume. And so you can't say you need to train this way. As 6-time Mr. Olympia champion Chris Doucette said,
it depends.
If your science-based lifting doesn't involve the words, it depends, then you don't know what you're saying. It always depends. It depends on the person, the lifter, the experience, the exercise, everything.
Mike had a brief moment of forced graciousness, but as soon as he regained his confidence, he reverted to the old guard's formula. If you can't refute the message, then attack the messenger.
And so what happened is the top-down people, they sensed a paradigm shift in thinking where people were no longer just going to accept what person was saying. Mike Israetel went hard. Harder than last time. The problem is it wasn't in the gym, it was on Mike Mentzer.
I'm bigger and stronger than Mike Mentzer. That's it. Yeah. So all of a sudden, that changes the game. Yeah. I'm more educated than Mike Mentzer. I know more things than Mike Mentzer.
Instead, we should then listen to Mike Israetel because he owns Renaissance Periodation and he has cereal and Gatorade on his diet while taking peptides, certain drugs like Ozempic or retatrutide or terzepatide, and he convinces people to take that. Mike pushes the use or abuse of performance-enhancing drugs. If not on other people, he does it indirectly by saying this is what he does. I take all these drugs. I do all these surgeries. Does that not encourage, even indirectly, other people to do the same? Now remember, some people, they need these drugs. If you need, for example, enclomiphene or HRT, terzepatide, Ozempic, if you need it, AlgoRx. Click the link in the description, code Greg, 10% off. Remember, I am, in fact, a part owner. They have doctors who will legally prescribe it to you. Retatrutide, for example, they can't prescribe it because it's not legal to prescribe. And so if you want safer drugs that a doctor will prescribe you at a much lower cost than, for example, Merrick Health, why not go to AlgoRx? And please, go to Merrick Health also. Go to Merrick Health first. See all their prices. And then when you compare the prices, you can thank me later. Say, wow, I can't believe, thank goodness I found AlgoRx.
My popularity is merely a symptom. It's not evidence of my bad faith, but rather compelling evidence that the fitness audience has a hunger for accountability.
And when somebody does something wrong and they don't apologize, the group wants what it wants, and they want an apology. And so when you don't offer them one, well, this is exactly what you get. Now remember, just because Mike and Jeff Nippard and Lane Norton have been caught in this scandal, it doesn't mean that everything they do is wrong. You can make mistakes. The problem is, when you make a mistake and you try to cover it up, how do we know that the next time this happens that you won't admit when you're wrong? If you attack other people because you're worried, perhaps afraid that other people are going to attack you or make videos about you, then what does that say about you? Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Watch one of those 2 bloops. Don't forget, for all the HDLT supplements, the Turkesterone, Turk Builder Max, Turk Platinum, of course, G-Test Platinum, as well as GO2 Max. If you're interested in the best supplements in the world, head to my website, code Greg, 15% off. And of course, if you want to be a sponsored athlete or an ambassador, you can apply by clicking the link in the description. And if you own a store or a gym and you want to carry our supplements, click the link in the description and purchase them faster than last time. And don't forget about the cookbooks. And until next time, I am out.